Zono Sports Show, where you know Zonos. The NFL this week, they made the right call. You know, they usually are not an advocate for the NFL players because they're worried about the brand itself, what's filling up their pocket. However, I will applaud the NFL in this effort. The fact that they canceled the Monday Night Football game in Mexico between the Kansas City Chiefs and the St. Louis? Los Angeles Rams due to poor field conditions. Now, I totally understand why they would cancel this event in Mexico, because think about the rising tensions right now with the nation as it relates to Trump and the border. So maybe that played into it a little bit. However, the poor field conditions, you don't want these players who are $1 million athletes to go out there, tear their knees up, and then they're complaining about the fact that the NFL had them playing in another country where no teams are located, and they were injured and career was altered or hampered by that specific injury. So I really appreciate the NFL doing this, and we're going to have great football in Los Angeles. The game was relocated from Mexico to Los Angeles. They're playing the Rams stadiums. Now, these are two high-flying offenses. You got Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball to Tyreek Hill, handed it off to Kareem Hunt, and then you have your boy Jared Goff getting the ball to all of his weapons. Cooper Kupp, who's hurt right now. Also, Brandon Cooks, Todd Gurley, considered the best running back in the league, best all-around running back. He can catch out of the backfield and run between the tackles. That's what you want a running back to be able to do. So I really look forward to watching, which I think they're the best dual-threat running backs in the league, Kareem Hunt and Todd Gurley. So I look forward to seeing who shows up and has a more dynamic performance. Now, obviously, this bodes well for the Los Angeles Rams because they'll be playing at home in front of all their fans in a showcase-type arena. And so I really expect them to be energized, knowing that this will now be a de facto, quote-unquote, home game for them because they'll be in their stadium. So the Rams, to me, have the advantage because they have the defensive advantage. You got Ndamukong Suh, just picked up Dexter Fowler, and, of course, the big man Aaron Donald in the middle. I think they could give the Kansas City Chiefs problems on offense, and the Chiefs, they've had a leaky hole in that defense the entire season. So now, don't get me wrong, the Rams will give up some points now, but when it matters most, I trust their defensive front more than I trust the Kansas City Chiefs defensive front. I still wonder to this day, why did you guys get rid of Dontario Poe? What was the reasoning and thinking behind that? Don't know. But that will be a good game this weekend coming up. Now, the other news that everybody was upset about, up in arms about all day, was Le'Veon Bell decided not to report to the Steelers on Tuesday, which in turn causes him to forfeit his $14.5 million franchise tag that he would have gotten had he reported to the Steelers facility. Now, to me, he should have gotten paid from the get-go because his talent is worth the money. It's worth, you get what you're paying for, right? You're going to get a quality running back who can do things that other running backs in the NFL just simply can't. And I know people in Pittsburgh are clamoring, James Conner, he's the guy, he can do it if Le'Veon can. Well, wouldn't it have been nice to have Le'Veon Bell right about now, considering the fact that James Conner just had a concussion? He's in concussion protocol, may not play this upcoming Sunday, and that concussion was this past Thursday. So what you have to remember is James Conner was simply filling a void, but he's not Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell is a once-in-a-lifetime exclusive talent that you have to appreciate it when you have it. And yeah, I understand football, you're supposed to be there for your teammates, but when you get to the professional level, like Mike Tomlin said, it's business. Football has in the NFL, there's a business element to it that you have to respect. And I thought it was really childish that the players in the Pittsburgh locker room after practice went and tore up Le'Veon Bell's locker room and toyed with a little bit his locker because they knew he wouldn't come back. But come on, guys. Y'all know y'all salty. Leave Le'Veon's locker alone in the locker room, okay? After football, though, I really like what Le'Veon does in the studio because his rapping, if you have not heard his songs online, trust me, you need to check them out because my man has bars. He's not just some football player. He has definitely a career in entertainment after football because he's got a little heat, I must say. Where does Le'Veon Bell end up? Philadelphia? Does Arizona try to go get him? Because David Johnson, he's always hurt, right? But I think that the best spot for him to land would be Philadelphia because of all the injuries they've had at running back, with Ajayi being hurt and then Darren Sproles not being able to go for most of the year this year. I really think that would be a great fit for him. And then also he'd get to be right near his old team and eventually maybe see them in the preseason or during the season. So that could be an upgrade for the Philadelphia Eagles. If you have a Carson Wentz and then you have a guy like Carson Wentz and you pair him with Le'Veon Bell, nice combo. Nice combo. I'll have that with a drink and a soda. And the drink is not sodas. That's why I said a drink and a soda. Now, NBA wise, let's shift over to some basketball. How about that? There's drama in Golden State brewing, right? Or is there? I think there's a little bit of drama brewing. And it all came to a head the other night when Draymond Green was caught on camera barking at Kevin Durant. They had an altercation. Not a physical altercation, but more of a war of words, verbal assault by Draymond Green, if you will. Steph Curry, we just found out he's out for 5 weeks with a groin injury. So what happens to this team? Draymond Green was suspended 1 game without pay, about 120 bans, 120 fat ones. So it makes me think to myself, the Warriors, they clearly value Kevin Durant more than Draymond Green, which, okay, rightfully so. Kevin Durant can put the ball in the bucket. However, Draymond Green is the fabric, the emotional fabric that has held that team together during all these championship runs. And somebody like that who wears their emotions on their sleeves, they're not going to hold their tongue for too much longer. You know, I look at this entire incident, and evidently Draymond came out and said, hey, Kevin Durant, you talking about he made some comments about his free agency, which is totally inappropriate in the heat of the game. Shouldn't necessarily go there. However, Draymond felt like he had to. To me, KD has a suitcase, and he packed very light when he landed in Golden State. Now he's got, he doesn't have, I shouldn't even call it a suitcase. KD showed up in Golden State with a backpack and a lunchbox. He didn't come with a suitcase and a duffel bag like he was going to stay a little while. And I think the Warriors know that, some of the players, and it's starting to rub them the wrong way, certain individuals. And you have people like Draymond who will speak out against that. You know, bro, I've always lived in this house. You're just visiting. You're not a permanent resident. I built this with my bare hands. So I can totally empathize with Draymond Green as to him feeling as though Kevin Durant is not all the way in, but bro, it's business. Get on that court, ball, and remember, they're not going to chop the head of their snake, which is Kevin Durant. They're going to go ahead and chop the tail because Draymond Green, you're considered the tail end of what they do there in Golden State. They obviously don't value that much. They'd rather have KD and Chef Curry with the pot than a Draymond Green who's been hurt and nicked up a little bit. So if I were Draymond Green, I would tread carefully, but I understand his point. Bob Myers, the president of basketball operations, you look so smart when you talk on TV, sir. Don't mean to insult you, but this was a stupid move, and I definitely think that you messed this entire roster up by choosing to suspend Draymond Green for 1 game. Why suspend him? Why not reprimand him or fine him, an internal fine or something like that? But to dock him an entire game check because you value this guy that much, it's like, oh, so that's how you feel about him? Even though I was here, I got the first chip for you, but okay, cool. So I really think that we may be seeing the beginning of the end for the Golden State Warriors because they smell everybody else in the NBA catching up. Toronto looks good over there. Golden State got that butt smacked around by Milwaukee. And LeBron, of course, being in the same division, there's only a matter of time before he catches up and gets some players on that squad. So Golden State, is it over? I'm not sure, but it could be soon, rather sooner than later, if this does continue to fester and boil over into more games. Now, they could win a couple games, this, that, and the third, but I definitely think this is something that we need to pay attention to. When they go back and do their 30 for 30s on the Golden State Warriors and why they broke up, this incident will come up, I assure you that. NCAA hoops. Yes, we know the basketball season just started. We saw some highlights last week from yours truly, Zion Williamson. Yes, he's the most dynamic, the most explosive, the most airific. His Prince airness in college basketball, in basketball right now, I think he will surpass LeBron if he continues to develop at this rate. He's got to lose a little weight because that's tough on your knees to jump high and dunk the ball like that. We saw all that slashing to Derrick Rose's knees over time. It really deteriorated the inside of his knee. I think that led to all the knee injuries attributed to all the cutting. And so I wonder how the jumping and dunking and constant bouncing will be for a guy weighing 285 in the next couple years. Can he continue to do it? Can he? But he looks like he can. But Zion Williamson single-handedly tore up Kentucky, busted them up, ripped them to shreds. They're up on Eastern Michigan bad. They played a tight game against Army, but I think they were just kind of hanging out because it was their first game at home, the home opener. So of course they're going to enjoy that, right? But I really like Zion Williamson and what he brings to college basketball. I hope I can see him when he comes to Louisville. Now, how about Mac McClung? Yeah. The new white chocolate. Mr. Mac McClung. Mac McClung has definitely all the tools it takes to be a star in college basketball because he can dribble. He's not the tallest guy. He's got a little height on him, but he's got bounce as well, can slam the ball. He's another Instagram sensation we fell in love with. Patrick Ewing, you definitely have a steal. Georgetown, they looked great last night. He's only a freshman with 6 for 14 field goals, 12 points, but he looked real spunky out there, and he plays good defense. He has a nice motor. So I look forward to seeing how can Mac McClung raise Georgetown back to the prominence that it once was at. Because back in the day, Georgetown was the squad. Now, these days, not so much. But Georgetown, having a player like that, I think that you really have an opportunity to grow something special there within the next 2-3 years if he decides to stay. Which, if I were him, I would stay because you get your. If you do leave and go out in the draft, you're going against an R.J. Barrett, a Zion Williamson, a Cam Reddish, even though I haven't seen everything from Cam Reddish. So if I'm Mac McClung, I chill out and chillax at Georgetown for at least 2 years. But hey, he might be able to jet. He may be able to jet. We shall see towards the end of the season. But really look forward to seeing what he can do opposed to Zion Williamson just tearing up courts because we know he's going to do that all year and be an impact player immediately in the NBA. Teams are already tanking for that guy, right? They might tank for Mac McClung soon. Maybe so. Now, college football, it's heating up, obviously. The rankings came out again. Nobody changed 1 through 10, which is the first time ever in the college football playoff era. Nobody moved the spot. Alabama and Clemson are clearly the 2 best teams without a doubt in the country. People wonder whether or not Tua should even play this weekend against the Citadel. Nick Saban says, yeah, he's going to play. If he does play, maybe a series or 2. You still want a guy to be fresh. You don't want to just hold him out of games like that. Plus, I'm sure Tua wants to start because now he's got a start streak up. He's been starting and he wants to keep that streak up. So I'm sure he wants to play. And Clemson, they've just seemed like they've rolled along. Gotten better and better as the season's gone on. That defense has been really sound. Your boy Wilkins knocked out the quarterback Brown for Boston College the first series of the game last week against Boston College, and it completely altered the outcome of that game. And he was probably hyped up to be there because he's from that area. But Clemson has just looked great with Trevor Lawrence. We thought they were in trouble when he got hurt against Syracuse, but came back rather nicely, and he's looked great to this point in the season. So we'll see how things shake out going down the stretch. Biggest test this weekend will be for Notre Dame against Syracuse in Yankee Stadium. Ian Book, you better play. Because if you don't play, I think Syracuse and Eric Dungy, they're scrappy enough. Dino Babers can get those guys out there to play and win that game. So if the Notre Dame Fighting Irish want to have a chance, they got to play Ian Book. He better wrap the ribs up, Brian Kelly, wrap the ribs up, put him on the grill because he's got to be able to go. Because the Irish have to score points to beat a Syracuse team who, yeah, they give up points, but they can score them too. They scored them on Clemson. They can score them on Notre Dame. So this should be a good game to watch on Saturday. I look forward to seeing it. Also, Cincinnati and UCF in the late game. My boy Matt Rorick, coaching receivers there. I look forward to seeing what the Bearcats do on ABC late night, primetime against the Knights. They're undefeated. McKinley Milton and the crew. We'll see what Cincinnati has to say about that. Next show, we will talk some more sports right here on Zone On Sports. You know I appreciate all you guys when you come and click YouTube, go to my video and watch it, see what I'm talking about, see what I'm discussing, because I try to give you the juice. I do. But as always, I like to say thank you for watching the Zone On Sports Show, where you know Zone knows.